YouTube, what's going on? What's going on? Why being overweight is expensive. I know you're probably thinking, oh, it's expensive because of all the food you eat and all the times you going out and ordering DoorDash. That's a major component. That stuff right there definitely tallies the mark. Doing tally up your DoorDash bill for the year, and you'd see easily when you get to the end of the year, you just spent like $6,000-7,000 on DoorDash, and that's the food and the delivery, the taxes, and all that stuff, man. It's like that is very expensive for somebody to bring you your food. You know what I mean? So $6,000. What could you have done with that $6,000 that you spent on feeding your fat fucking face, right? Easy. You could have got a trainer. You could have got a trainer or two. You could have spent way more of that money on books. You could have spent that money on, little dumbbells that you could have in the house. It's so much more shit that you could have spent your money on other than, that DoorDash bill bringing you food so you can continue to stuff your face. Because that's not going to help you with that depression. But that gym membership that'll cost you, what, 30, 40 bucks a month, that could have came out of that $6,000 for the year. Those self-help books and the books that, I recommend along with other people, that'll run you about, what, 300-400 bucks if you get the whole set. That could have came from that $6,000 that you spent on DoorDash. Not clothes, but, your walking shoes, your trainers, your just small shit that won't even total up to about 200-300 bucks. All of that could have came out of that $6,000, and you still got so much more left over. But no, you're ordering DoorDash 3 nights out of the week. You going out to eat twice out of the week, and you barely at home cooking. And when you do cook, let's go into your grocery bill. I don't even want to tally the fucking grocery bill because I already know you eating goofy shit. I already know you going to ice cream aisle. You over there getting all type of ready-made meals and stuff. It's like that processed food is probably worse for you than the fast food. I mean, don't direct quote me on that, but I'm just saying, like, all that processed food, if you look at the nutrition label and it's got like 30 fucking ingredients, it's processed food, man. And so much, I mean, granted, we in the United States, is everywhere you go, but the decisions that you make, really affect how you move. It affects who you become. The vote that you have now are weighing into the decisions that you make in the person that you're becoming. You have to think about these things. You have to walk around in your goal self. Like I said in the previous video, you got to walk around like your goal. Me, I walk around like I'm 10%. I just do. And I'm close. I'm very close, but I still walk in that way. I still wear my shirts. Like I'm taking videos of my golf swing right now because I really want to be ready for our next major tournament that we're going to have for the golf group that I'm in. I want to win the Masters again. That's the most prestigious one that we got. Yeah, that's the most prestigious tournament in golf, period. But we got our own version of it. And I'm the first one to win it for our entire group. And I want to win that shit again now that I'm back. So that means I got to go out there and put in the work. But while I'm out there putting in the work, I noticed, I was like, yo, man, my homeboy who was taking video of me, I was like, damn, I didn't even really fucking recognize, like, motherfucker, is that me? It was. And then I would pause and zoom in. I'm like, damn, my fucking back look good. Damn, my shoulders and chest look good. This shirt really highlights that, which gets into the next thing that you spend so much money on because you fat as fuck, your clothing. That entire outfit I had on was $35. The shirt was cheap as hell. The pants was cheap. They all reliable. It just don't have a name brand on it. That's it. The most expensive thing I had on was my fucking Bruce Wayne Rolex and my fucking Nike Dunks. That is it. That was the most expensive thing I had on. And most times, people gonna ask you, oh man, is that Louis Vuitton? I don't see the labels. They're gonna associate that shit with you because of how you look in the shit, right? Because that's why the designer stuff looks so expensive. That's why it looks so good, because when people modeling it, they either in shape or they skinny as fuck. And that's really the people who they targeting. If you notice, yeah, them clothes are more expensive the bigger you are. That's just what it is. You got more material and you paying for a fucking name, right? And I used to be that guy. Trust me, when I tell you I could have been Ralph Lauren's mascot. From the shoes to the socks to the underwear to belts, to boots, to sweaters, hoodies, vests, hats, you name it. I had Ralph Lauren every fucking thing. Not because it made me feel better, but because it made me feel better about being fat. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, if I'm gonna be this big dude, I'm gonna make sure I'm laced from head to toe. You know, so how big he said it? You know, he said I'm fat, black, ugly as ever. However, I stay Coogee down to the socks. You know, rings, chains, and watch worth more than Fort Knox. You know what I mean? And rest in peace to the probably the greatest rapper to ever live. But he made a point, like, yeah, I'm fat, black, and ugly as fat, black, ugly as ever. However, I stay Coogee down to the socks. I would have been like, I stay Polo down to the socks because I was that fat, black, ugly as ever. However, you know, Ralph Lauren and all those expensive cars and shit I had, that was my however, because that's how I got over just being who and what I was, which was very fucking expensive. People don't tally these things because at that point when you got it, you got it. You don't give a fuck, right? But the clothes I wear now, bruh, I ain't spending no money. I do it for my kids. But for me, nah, bruh. Just give me, I'll take a regular no-name polo style shirt, and just be cool with it, you know, because I'm the outfit now, right? So when you get to where you want to be, and that's at a lean state, lean is law, right? When you get to that lean state and you have no name brand clothes, it still looks good on you because first off, your posture is better. You're walking with your head up, you're walking with your chest out and your shoulders back. You already got a confidence and a stilo about you. Most people don't even understand. They're like, well, damn, I see why he did it. Because you earned it, my guy. You earned that shit. You can buy titties. You can buy ass with BBL. You can even have them put some of the fat in the thighs. You can buy a Ferrari. You can buy a mansion. You can buy anything that you just think about it. You can buy it. The one thing that you can't buy is a good fucking physique. And then you got these people now who going to these specialists who shaping their fat to look like abs, but it wears off after a month. So tell me what fucking sense does that make to spend $5 grand on a procedure to where you're only gonna look that way for a month? That's another big waste of money, these cosmetics. Ladies, I'm not saying if you're not happy with your chest, go get your chest done. Some women just genetically don't have it, so they go get them, and it makes them feel better. Some women, you know, we got to call them, you know, Miss Butterworth, ass flat like a pancake. But now you have the ability to go get an ass. Thank you, Nicki Minaj. She started that shit, right? And if it makes you feel better, go fucking do it. I'm just a little bit harder on the men because the bodies that we want, all we got to do is simply just lock in and go fucking get it. Genetics for a woman, that's a little bit different. Maybe she wanted that big booty. She just can't have it because genetically she's not meant to have it. Maybe she wants those D cups. Genetically, she's not meant to have it. But with today's technology, she can go get the shit. And guess what? They benefit you, my guy. But the one thing that'll benefit her and yourself mainly is that body. It's those wide shoulders. It's that V taper. You know what I mean? My guy, you do not have to go get no kind of cert. Now, if you got some fucked up teeth, go get a fucking, go get your braces. I was blessed to have the teeth that I have, and they came in naturally. I did not have to do no braces. Thank you, Jesus. You know, I ain't have to do none of that. But some people ain't got it like that. But if you know these things, bro, you can go fix it. Go get yourself some braces. If your nose jacked up, go get your nose realigned and fixed. If you want something done, you can go get it done. The genetic stuff that you can't really help, okay, I get that. But you being fat, you are in full control of that shit. Because if a man ain't in control of his fucking fork, he not in control of his fucking life. And that's just the fucking truth. I'm a living testament to that. I wasn't in control of the fucking fork. Yes, I made a lot of money. Yes, I had a lot of access, but I wasn't in control of my fucking life because I was still making poor decisions. Poor decisions out of emotions because I was insecure, fat, lazy, depressed. You roll it all up into one fucking burrito and it's going to taste the same. Shitty. And that's who I was, right? And that shit was expensive because you want to appear a certain way. You want to look a certain way to people. And most times you doing all this shit to impress people who don't even fucking like you. You know what I mean? People, oh yeah, what's up, man? How you doing? But as soon as you walk away, man, I can't stand that fat motherfucker. Always trying to one up somebody and all this other shit. He need to one up that fucking fork. You know what I mean? Like, I'm pretty sure a lot of people have said that shit behind my back or anybody else's back who does that. You know what I mean? Who will throw their financial success in somebody's face. But meanwhile, you know, motherfucker hitting the gym 5-6 times a week, and he's in touch and in tune with himself. He's in touch and in tune with the man or person that he's becoming because he got his shit right. He ain't worried about this expensive stuff because I've seen it. I've seen it so many times, it's ridiculous. You go to a place like D. Lincoln Prime, great steakhouse over here in the Star in Frisco, Texas. I got off late work one night when I was in the car business still, and I drove all the way from fucking North Fort Worth, which is about an hour. I pulled up in a gold Lamborghini, and it was some chicks outside. They was just out there looking and chilling. So, oh, hey, how you doing? What you do? I was like, oh, nah, you know, I'm late. I got to meet a couple friends. But I saw how interested they were because of what I pulled up in. And then that very next weekend, I pull up and I had a Tesla at the time because I was getting my Hellcat worked on. So I ended up pulling up in a Tesla. Same chicks, just out there hanging around late. No fucking play. Fucking visible. And that showed me, bruh, if you ain't got it in this area, you're going to be overlooked. You're going to be invisible. Because that car was the only thing that made me like visible and notice like, damn, what you do to drive this shit, right? And that's, once again, that's expensive because you spending all that money on some cars and shit that's going to cost you thousands of dollars a year to maintain. And people don't see that shit. They don't know it. They just be like, oh, man, I got the money. I'm going to get it. Yeah, until you got to pay $4,500 for a fucking oil change. Yeah, until you got to ship in a part that's only for that make and model, and it's got to come from Italy or some shit, and that's like 12 grand. And then you got to pay for labor. Then you got to pay for, man, it's a whole bunch of shit that goes on into it that you don't even fucking realize, right? And that's expensive as hell. But I've also seen dudes pull up in like a 2010 Corolla, bumper falling off. But as soon as he get out the car, he got on a fucking fitted button down, showing off the V-taper, doing this thing. And then these girls, he don't give a fuck about the car he in. He just know he going there to have a good time, whether the chick like it or not. He going to eat what he want to eat. If she like it, cool. If not, all right, cool, whatever. No matter to me, I'm here for the steak. So whenever he does that and he get out of that busted ass Corolla and girls are still, and I'm looking like, damn, this motherfucker pull up in this and these girls still walking up to him and talking to him and shit. It was mind boggling. And it was like, damn, I wonder how that happened. But see, now I know how that happened because they respected him before he said a fucking word to him because he respected himself. He respected himself to stay in shape. He respected himself to put himself first. So when he steps out there, he commanded it off the rip. And I'm just now experiencing that shit. Motherfuckers are way nicer to me. Like, seriously, I mean, people were nice before, but now it's almost like way nicer. You know, making conversation with me in the line at the store. And like I said, I thought that was some weird shit. I went with my son today just to get some little knickknacks when they got me the Quest protein chips. And I took a picture. I was like, Doritos making protein chips now? Man, I sent that shit to my fucking group with Luther and them. That thing said 200, I think it was 150 calories for every 23 chips at 10 grams of protein. I said, them macros are fucking trash. What are they doing? I said, let me quit this bullshit. Let me go right on over here and get those Quest chips because those macros line the fuck up with what I'm trying to do. Granted, I ain't gonna eat them right now, but whenever I do add on a few more calories and I reverse, then I'll fuck with them, right? But you just see a whole difference in everything. Not from, and you look at the price of this stuff because you see how much it's costing you, not just like financially, but internally too. You don't understand, but your medical bills are going to be through the fucking roof when you diagnosed with some shit because you fat in a motherfucker. That's what it is. Obesity leads to other things. Like I told y'all, I seriously believe that me being super fat led to my pulmonary embolism. I really, really believe that shit. I was, 2019, I was 31? I had just turned 31, and I was like 298, 304, just heavy, and I ain't never been that big in my life. ended up having health problems, and I still didn't get my shit together until last year. I'm a lucky motherfucker. I just kept, taking chance after chance after chance, eating that goofy shit, not really taking care of myself. And that's why now it's easy for me to drive by Whataburger. It's easy for me to drive by Popeyes. For one, that shit is expensive. Do you know you paying almost $12 for a fucking family meal? That is ridiculous, man. It didn't used to be that expensive. But, I mean, we are overpopulated. Half that meat ain't fucking real anyway. So it is what it's going to be. People going to eat it. They're going to buy it. It is what it is. But it's expensive. And I'm going to have some asshole in the comments say, well, eating healthier is more expensive than eating the junk. Well, yeah, because look at the grand scheme of things. You fuel a lot of industries when you got fat people like yourself. You fuel a lot of industries when you got sick people that get sick from being fat people like yourself. It's smart. And they say, oh no, we have to genetically modify food because of the way people consume so much. I'm like, nah, get that correct. It's the way Americans consume so much. You know what I mean? Like when I was living in Europe, we had the smallest Frigidaires. Well, excuse me, that's the countryside. The smallest refrigerators and the smallest freezers because you had markets everywhere you went, and then you got natural whole foods there. So if I went and bought blueberries, I got to eat them shits within the first day or two because they in there for 3 days. You got mold everywhere. You know what I mean? So I got smart. I started freezing the shit, but you don't have a lot of space in your refrigerator because the food there spoils fast no matter if you put it in the refrigerator or not, because it's real and it's natural. So you don't have that luxury of, throwing shit in the refrigerator and the food over there is cheaper than it is over here. So I didn't mind going to the store, spending $200 or $300 every other week in the bulk place because I knew all I needed was salmon, the grilled chicken breast, the broccoli, the frozen blueberries, the frozen strawberries. I get 3 kilo tubs of Greek yogurt, Pilas. That's my favorite brand ever. It tastes better than the shit we got here in America. I really wish I could have brought that back with me. My honey, my walnuts. It's like everything I needed over there was just cheaper and it was just there. Here, it's still relatively expensive, but you fuel a lot of industries when you do eat the bullshit that you eat. Even though eating healthy costs a lot more, you still kind of fueling a lot of industries. The medical field, because you're going to get sick and you got to get treated. And when you get treated for something else. That's just what it is, right? And then you got to pay for your clothes. They're going to be bigger. So then you got to spend money on that. And then you're going to feel like shit because you are bigger. Then you want to be name brand so you feel less bad. This is what it is. So yes, I would rather go to the store. Day before yesterday, no, actually yesterday, I spent almost $240 on a lot of bags of broccoli, a whole bunch of frozen salmon, a whole bunch of frozen chicken tenders. Of course, they grilled. I just got to thaw them and put them in the fucking oven or the air fryer. I got my yogurt. I got my walnuts. I got my honey. I got my strawberries. I got everything that I needed. And I bought it for like 2 weeks worth, and it was about 240, 250 bucks. Man, you stupid for doing that. Yeah, you could say that, but that's really all that I eat, right? Because I want to make sure that I can control every single thing that I digest. I want to make sure that I'm in control of what I look like. All I got to do is just control the input. That's what I eat, how I work out, how I rest. That's simple. I get to pick and choose what I stress about. Stress spikes your cortisol. Cortisol makes you keep and retain fat. That's why the inner work is just as important as the outer work. That reading, that journaling, that talking to God, that talking to a therapist, doing whatever it is you need to do. Keep that stress low. So yes, you don't realize how expensive being fat is because you've gotten so accustomed to being such a fat ass. You have the means to continue to eat like shit. You got the means to continue to buy these big ass clothes, and you obviously you got the money to keep going to the hospital. And I really, guys, oh my God, I think this is just as bad as when I see people in the airport with leashes on their kids disguised as backpacks. When I tell you that's comedy for black folks, people don't do that to you kids. Because we low key just look at each other and just do this little eye thing and we just start laughing like a motherfucker. Don't embarrass yourself like that. Please don't. It's just comedy for us, right? And then I hate to see in the fucking grocery store, I see this big ass lady. She had to be about 450 strong, boy. in a cart, just riding around like a little motorized scooter, and then getting mad at people for not walking faster. I'm like, bitch, you're not even walking at all. Like, what are you doing? So, and then my little girl, y'all met her yesterday. She messy as fuck. Tell some daddy, that's a big lady. That's why I don't want you eating peanut butter. I don't want you looking like that again. I was like, well, first off, little person, I was never that big till I had to sit on a damn cart to go grocery shopping. You know, I at least could still walk. But my baby was right. Dad to stay away from that peanut butter. And let me address that too. Guys, what I meant by peanut butter got me in a chokehold, even if I'm on like a hammer fuck some shit up day just because I can't, I stay the fuck away from it because I know myself. And that goes along with that discipline that I built. If I do indulge in peanut butter, it's got to be peanut butter and jelly on a sourdough piece of toast. I'll put it in the air fryer, let it crispy, and that's it, right? No butter to make it like a grilled cheese like I used to. None of that shit. But even then, that's still very controlled. That'll be like a tablespoon, and then just spread it out. And then I'm putting the jar away to where I can't see it for at least another month because I know internally what peanut butter does to me. So that's the discipline to know what's wrong and put the shit away. And that's not gonna cost me anything because peanut butter lasts for a long ass time. But what it would have costed me if I do see it all the time, what it does cost me if I intend to, if I indulge in it, it cost me the pieces of myself that I've built. It cost me more than anything money can buy. And that is my new identity. And that's why I'm so locked in. That's why I'm so built into this identity now because I know what it'll do and I can't put myself in that position. Temptation is a motherfucker. But when you can control that gluttony, you can control lust and everything else because gluttony is the hardest thing to control because you have to fucking eat every day. With lust, you ain't got to bust a nut every day. You ain't got to get off every day. You just fucking choose to because of the quick dopamine hit. That's just being real. And I'm being real with you guys. And that shit is also expensive. Well, unless you're looking at Pornhub and all those other ones that's free. But it's still costing you. It's costing you your energy. It's costing you your life energy. It's costing you your time. And I've had to learn, that's really not the best. I told y'all I was addicted to that shit. I absolutely love that stuff. I knew the porn stars. I didn't even have to see their face. I knew them by butt cheeks. That's Jenna Michaels. That's Jenna Jameson. That's Flower Tucci. It's like I was that obsessed with that shit. That's how it was. And once I started to like realize, bro, this shit ain't healthy. Let me focus my energy and attention on something else. And that's why hitting the gym, that's why journaling, talking to my therapist, talking to my coaches, man, that shit really helped me to elevate and grow up because I never knew a lot of things when it came to my addiction to that. And it all started with food because I couldn't control how much I ate. I didn't control what I ate. I just got hungry. I said I got a taste for 3 double cheeseburgers. And that was my thing at McDonald's. I want 3 double cheeseburgers, extra onions, extra cheese, 2 large fries, and a Coke. That was my fucking order. Even when I first got to Poland, my first month in Poland, 4 double cheeseburgers, 3 large fries, and a Coke. You see how embarrassing that shit is? But I'm proud of where I've come from, And then once I tapered off eating like shit and I understood how important it was to eat right, then I started shifting my attention over to the porn. I was like, yo, this don't really feel right no more because now I'm getting in touch with myself. And I had to think, what would the 10% body fat version of Sean Reed do in a situation like this? So instead of putting that shit on my phone, I just started listening to the audiobook. I was like, damn, okay, cool. Started to learn to just write shit down. I'm not as consistent as I should be with the journaling, but because I'm able to do that, it keeps my energy and my life force focused into something else, right? And guys, you can beat it. I know plenty of people out there that's still addicted to that shit, but you can beat it. You just have to start somewhere. And that somewhere starts with the control over what you eat. Once you can control that, guys, you can control anything because you got to do it every day, right? So just keep in mind the cost of being fat because it leaks over into every other facet of your life, whether it's the sexual part, whether it's the social part, it all leaks into it. Because for one, when you lean and in shape, people already associate you with being a leader and being disciplined because you're doing shit that nobody else is doing. I'm still wrapping my head around this whole rarity shit, but it's true. It is very, very true. When I go to a dealership to see my homeboys, just to, you know, speak to them real briefly, or I'm getting service at my car, I'm looking at salespeople, I'm looking at service people. All them motherfuckers is cooked, man. All of them. I'm serious. Stomach busting over their belts, side fat protruding over. You know, it's like, dang, you know, I used to look like that. I told y'all, I used to look like an upside down dustpan. I'm telling you. And that's not a joke. I was bad off. I was bad off in these streets. I really was. Thinking I was the shit because I had some bread. But that's what it is. And that's the God honest truth. I'm going to give it to you raw, real, transparent. Guys, I was bad built. Straight up. And then you couldn't tell me I wasn't. Well, shit, let me pull out this. And I always walked around with probably about $1,000 or $2,000 in 20s in a rubber band. And still had the Amex Platinum and the gold and the sky, all this shit, bro. I had all these things that didn't mean shit, that wouldn't get me nowhere. It only meant some shit to me, right? And me thinking it meant stuff to other people. Didn't mean nothing. You know, and I'm walking around now, what, 12% body fat, and it's a way different feeling. People are so much more nicer. People want to talk to you, especially when you look warm and you look welcome. I don't walk around looking like a mean motherfucker all day. I just smile. And then, hey, how are you? And then after that, it's just, oh man, hey, how you doing? And I can talk about this. My man, Chris G, my man looked at my resume, my LinkedIn. Man is a straight whiz and pro at this shit. He didn't even have to do it. But because we met through here, and it's like, damn, man, he's a cool ass dude. You get people who naturally just want to be around you and want to help you. We both live in Dallas, Texas. I just live on the other end. He live on the other end. And I'm pretty sure we're going to link up and like, yo, man, let's go have a cigar and just hang out. And because we got shit in common now. He got his body together. I got my body together. He's experiencing real life body game stories like people be telling y'all, but y'all don't want to listen. Y'all think we just be self-glazing. It's so much shit I can fucking tell you to blow your goddamn mind. But I don't even want to do it because my focus ain't there. My focus is helping you to realize your potential. My focus is to help you realize that you don't have to sit there and eat your life away. You don't. You could do something about it. Walk into being the best version of yourself so you can take control of not only your life, but the things that you are able to control. Because be real, you can't control taxes, you can't control death, and you can't control change. And those are the three things that's guaranteed to us. But why not look good in the motherfucker while you're adapting to all three? I'm just saying, hey, when somebody carrying me, I don't want people laughing. Damn, this motherfucker happy. Heavy as hell. We got to hurry and put his ass in the ground. I ain't trying to go out like that, G. Hell no. Even when I linked up with my brother Brandon today, that motherfucker told me, and it was the funniest shit in the world. He's like, damn, bro, you went from a defensive lineman to a goddamn wide receiver. He said, I don't know if you my ex or my wide receiver. I said, just don't put me in the slot. He said, hell no, you about 6'2", 6'3", easily out there on the end. He's like, because when you came back in April, he's like, yes, you can clearly tell the difference. And you went down to about Shannon Sharp size about the tight end. He said, now you just a full-fledged receiver. Y'all, I'm wearing medium shirts and shit now. I ain't got to worry about pulling my shit down. I ain't got to worry about if it's too revealing and showing anything. The only thing it's hugging on is my shoulders, chest, and my lats, and my arms. It just fit good. And it's a good feeling when it fits like that, because what do people see when they first see you is your body, and how you treat yourself is how they're going to gauge to treat you. It's already bad enough as a man when we ask another man what they do for a living, we kind of low-key gauge how much respect to give them. But it's even worse when you a fat body too. Can't be down to the zero. And who gives a fuck what everybody else judge you about? But be the best version of yourself, man. Realize how expensive being fat really is, because it's costing you way more than you know. It's costing you a lot of time. It's costing you a lot of money. And it's costing you a lot of energy. So hit that Calendly, book some time with me. Let's talk about it and see where we can go from there to get you right. But until then, don't fade. Do not. I kind of fucked that up because I'm really tired. That jet lag still kicking my ass. But for some reason, the algorithm sending my videos to a lot of people who don't even know me, and it's bringing them to me. So I'm going to keep cranking out these videos every day because I got a lot to fucking say. So thank you for listening to what I got to say. And don't play them fucking away games.